Well, in our new paperback version that is coming out this week, we address precisely that kind of issue. We look at, for instance, the question of the surge. Some people have said the surge is success. If we leave now, we will be snatching defeat out of victory. One has to look a little bit more carefully at what has happened. Anywhere else in the world, the level of violence that we see in Iraq today would be front page stories day after day. We've become inured to this level of violence. The violence is less than it was 2 years ago, a year ago, but it's still at an intolerable level. Open up the papers and you'll see 25 people get killed in a bombing in one city one day. 3 days later, 50 people get killed in elsewhere. This is not stability. And the way we got what little stability that we got was basically paying some of the Sunni insurgents to fight with us. But as the experts pointed out at the time, this was a very risky strategy, because rather than strengthening the national government, you were fractionating the country. You were providing finance to an independent militia. It was exactly the same strategy that the British had tried in the South, in Basra, with such disastrous consequences. So, yes, the British did not lose as many people, but the result is when the British basically withdrew, you had these independent militia controlling much of the city of the South, the Basra. And that was a strategy that we pursued. So this insurgency has not been a success. Just to give you a little inkling of how insecure things are and how bad Iraq is being managed, we are now paying contractors to fill sandbags up in Kuwait to ship to the north of Iraq. Now, can you imagine shipping, there's an expression, shipping coal to Newcastle, shipping sand from Kuwait to a desert in Iraq. Why? Well, sandbags are important for the military, but it's too risky for contractors to fill the sandbags in Iraq. They have to do it in Kuwait, and then we have to spend all this money in shipping it, huge amount of oil used, and these vehicles are very, very gas guzzlers, and costing us huge amounts of money. So to go back to your question, it is very clear we need to withdraw. We are not winning. We need to withdraw in a way that tries to maintain what stability there is. It's very clear Obama is committed to that kind of a policy. It's very clear that McCain talks about victory, but what does victory mean? What does victory mean? We keep lowering, we keep changing the bar. 5 years ago, we talked that victory was going to be a sound democracy that would lead to a wave of democracies in the Middle East. No one talks about that now. When there's been an election, it's been an election against what we stand for. We've created enemies. We've lost the minds and hearts of the people. We lost the critical war of the hearts and minds of the people in the Middle East. I mean, we have to recognize that. The way they engaged in torture, the way they conducted the war. Now, one of the reasons we're losing the hearts and minds is collateral damage. The longer we're there, the more collateral damage. We call it collateral damage. They call it killing their families. So it's, unfortunately, this is the reality. I mean, I wish it weren't that way. I wish the war had been conducted in a different way. But we've changed the goalpost. A little while ago, the goalpost was set, we had this surge, and they said, we will measure the success of the surge by a political resolution. We knew we couldn't. putting troops in there, you can temporarily reduce the level of violence, but what would lead to real stability would be a political solution. Now, we recognize there wasn't that political solution. So what do? We move the goalposts. We say, well, we didn't really mean that stuff about the political solution. We said we were going to set benchmarks. Those benchmarks haven't been met. Oh, we forget about it. So as far as we can tell, McCain has no notion of what victory means. And that means it's a very dangerous policy.